Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to JDR Media Productions. I'm your host, Jason Ranieri. I'd like to share a little bit about myself with some of you. I am a graduate of Worcester State University and was freshman class president. I graduated cum laude in my major, history. I became a certified Massachusetts educator by passing the Mass Educators exam with a perfect score in economics. I am a Heroes Among Us award recipient from the Boston Celtics organization for playing Santa Claus for physically and mentally handicapped at Rentham Developmental Center for over 20 years. I'm a graduate of the Massachusetts Leadership Academy and a member of Empower, a lobbyist group that successfully reinstated Mass Health coverage of eye and dental exams for those in need through the Mass House and Senate. I enlisted in the U.S. Army ROTC program. I'm a vegetarian and Freemason. I traveled America for a year and a half, and I currently reside in Massachusetts. We'd like to talk about the current day of events today, the current scene here in the United States. I've taken the time to write something which I believe in the future, even 150 years from now, if not sooner, will be recognized as a very important document. That not only am I saying this because I've read many important documents from our founding fathers, and also period pieces from the enlightened philosophers who gathered in the salons among the other philosophers to discuss the events of the day and some of the ideas that they were working on. So this forum is open to anybody with any ideas or questions. If you're interested in hearing further about some of the things which I've done, you can get me on Facebook. It's Jason Ranieri, Ranieri. And you'll just befriend me, and I have a list of original essays, original songs I've written, which can also be found on YouTube. Original quotes and photographs and things like that. So let us begin with what we're talking about today in 2020 with the current affairs of the state. I've written a dissertation, if you will, about the current affairs as they remain currently in this country and in some places around the world, unfortunately. The title of this is called We Shall Rise Above by Jason Ranieri. This isn't the nation of America anymore. This is the United States of America, a country. The USA is controlled by the state. We have a weak central government. The states have all the power. Now is the time to strengthen the central government for national unity over the state. The police are not the federal government standing army or a state militia provided for by the Constitution. They are a state appendage used to objectify, subjugate, and suppress our basic freedoms: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which is the basis of our nation's doctrine. In the 1960s, we were taught civics, what the government could and couldn't do. Now we are taught social studies, subjects like psychology, which is complete nonsense. Who was behind that? The police, certain elected officials and judges who are the political appointees. So whoever really gets a fair trial. If you don't know civics, you won't have the wisdom to defend yourself from, as Thomas Jefferson exclaimed, quote, tyranny over the minds of men, unquote. I don't feel safe around them either. I just think about their history and how they think they are above the law. America is about liberty, human values, and rights, not about, quote, political lice, unquote, that validate their existence by waging a war on the poor or minorities. They take all the taxpayers' money. We can't even afford to pay teachers, education, or prisons. Most of them are below average students themselves. What A or B student is going to carry a gun and cause some of the most horrific crimes against humanity? They continue to ruin America. Period. Let us not forget what they did to Jesus of Nazareth when they tortured and murdered a man of peace, arresting him while he prayed. The brainwashed mob screamed, "Free Barabbas!" a known murderer, and offered Jesus death. Like most politicians, Pontius Pilate, a governor, washed his hands of it and sent an innocent man to be nailed to a cross. The state felt threatened by Jesus' popularity among the poor. Let us not forget what they did in Nazi Germany. Children were sent to Auschwitz together with adults, made to undress and given poison pills by German psychiatrists, raped, beaten, some even burned alive in the furnaces. Some children, like twins for instance, served as objects of criminal experiments. Others had to work hard. The children sent to the camp were registered and denominated often as political prisoners. They were first of all Jews and Gypsies, but also Polish refugees. They were treated in the same way as adults. Majority of them died in gas chambers soon after the arrival to the camp, made to undress, tortured, starving, and forced into gas chambers. The Nazi SS police enforced these measures as, quote, the final solution, unquote. Let us not forget what they did to African Americans when they enforced, quote, Jim Crow, unquote, laws, which whites only. The Southern governors told the police, join the Ku Klux Klan or be ostracized from the department. How many do you think joined? Probably all of them. I say, drink from the fountain. Ride in the front of the bus. Let them see your humanity. The only people protected were white bread, middle class, who had the money and connections. This is how it remains today. The American Civil Liberties Union defends some cases, but the violations have been so dire and deep. Our forefathers warned about such unbridled tyranny. They are the reason we have the Bill of Rights. We will defend our freedom from all enemies, foreign and domestic, until the day comes when all people are free and equal. As a result of civil rights, protests and marches, there was an upheaval. The consequences of it all on the status quo was too much. The next generation of Americans were purposely taught social studies rather than civics as a means of social control. The state didn't like the civil rights movement because it forced them to question their values. The movement gave a voice to those marginalized. The poor and minorities were rallying, using civics to help their causes. As a result, the state couldn't violate their basic human rights anymore because the majority of people knew constitutional law, the Bill of Rights, and civics taught in American high schools, colleges, and universities. Today, we have the most incarcerated people in the world because high schools, colleges, and universities don't teach civics anymore, but social studies. The state controls the curriculum guidelines and prefers students take civics as an elective. Less people knowing about their rights, more people jailed. Not to mention, the whole prison system has a feeding trough, a mile long, set up to validate its existence. There is a direct correlation between crime and poverty. If we took the money given to the industrial prison complex, and police state, we could eliminate poverty and thus crime. But until that day comes, we must be vigilant against the police and judicial system, because whatever they're doing isn't working. People aren't given a fair trial by a jury of their peers. People are imprisoned and condemned before the process even begins. Most can't afford an attorney, and the public defenders are in the pocket of the DA. The judge's mindset is to punish rather than reform, and guaranteed the person serving a sentence will be released with nothing but the clothes on their back and probably end up in trouble again. Many prisoners are forced to take psychiatric drugs, which are more dangerous than you ever imagined, leading to violence and health problems. Some prisoners are told they are not competent to stand trial. These people serve half the maximum sentence, then the charges are dismissed, yet no verdict of guilty is ever rendered. No trial ever happens. No one should be imprisoned at any point without a guilty verdict beyond a reasonable doubt. The whole thing is a form of human trafficking. The police, legal system, prisons, and a whole host of others profit immeasurably from crime and poverty. If it was in the business model to end crime and poverty, they would have already solved the problem. But they need their jobs, and the more money that they make, the more votes the politician gets. The politician uses taxes to hire police against people in distress rather than help them. This makes the police union happy. They get paid, and the politician gets protected. Since the poor don't pay taxes or vote, they are ignored. The process of becoming poor isn't easy to define. Some are born into it, others are disabled. Many are uneducated or elderly. But wherever you see a starving, homeless person, the police are there telling them to get off that park bench, and they charge them with trespassing. Jail becomes their home because the state couldn't afford to build affordable housing for the less fortunate. We spend all the taxes on the police to punish rather than assist. Rather than end the police reign in America and bring back peace, love, and understanding, the state prefers to subjugate and oppress because the state is a primitive form of governance that bases class structure on its division of labor. Since the poor don't work jobs, they are worthless and treated as such by the state and its appendages. America is not America anymore, but the United States of America, where the state's political hierarchy trumps the federal government, and we have a decentralized country. The state feeds off the working class taxes and provides certain protections for the rich, since they donate the most money to the politician. I believe there is a difference between a nation and a country. People live in a state inside a country inside a nation. America is the nation, and the USA is the country. Those that don't conform in the USA are cast out. Protest against the rising tide of conformity and stand in defense of our civil liberties. America means liberty, justice for all, and equality before the law. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all people are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, of which are these: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Time to prepare for greatness, America. God willing, we shall rise above this tyranny. Love will always win. I thank you. This is a copy of my book, Polka Dots and Politics by Jason D. Ranieri. You can purchase it from me directly. It was a finalist in the Best Book Awards in the category of humor and comedy in 2019, last year. In the 2019 American Fiction Awards, it was a finalist in 2 categories, humor and comedy, and also political thriller, if you can believe that. There's a little bit about me on the back and a photograph. It's normally $12, but if you order today, I'll give it to you for a square deal. $10, I'll knock $2 off the price. Here's how you get in touch with me. You can either get in touch with me through Facebook. As you can see my name, Ranieri, and without the D, Jason. And you type me in, you'll see a picture of me, and you can befriend me. Give me a message and tell me who you are and where you heard about me. I'd be happy to send you a copy for $10. And what I'll do is I'll send you the book. Once you receive the book, then you can send me $10, like, wrapped in paper in an envelope, and I'll continue to do this until I can get up on my feet again and get some advertising going to get it into bookstores, because this is a grassroots movement, and I need your support at the base level so that I can continue to make these broadcasts, so I continue to have a roof over my head and put food on my table. And thank you so much, everybody, for listening. We're going to do another broadcast, and I hope you enjoy this. And don't forget now, get me on Facebook. There's a lot of things going on that you need to know about, and I'm happy to share some of my insight. So thank you, everybody. Take care and be good. Arrivederci.